The Deluxe Edition Network, also known as The Den, is an incredible podcast network that offers a wide variety of entertaining and informative podcasts.
With a lineup of shows covering various topics, such as interviews with a wide variety of guests, history, music, relationships, true crime, and so much more. The Den provides content that caters to a diverse range of interests.
The hosts and guests on the Deluxe Edition Network demonstrate a deep passion and expertise in their respective fields, making each episode on each show engaging and thought-provoking.
The network fosters a sense of community by encouraging listeners to interact through live chats, social media, and forums, creating an inclusive environment for discussion and sharing opinions.
With its commitment to high-quality production, the shows in the Deluxe Edition Network continue to captivate and entertain its ever-growing audience.
Whether you're a podcast enthusiast or someone looking to explore new topics, The Den is a fantastic platform to dive into and uncover fascinating insights from experts in their fields.
The Deluxe Edition Network is the home of independent awesomeness.
To find all these great podcasts in one convenient location, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Everybody, welcome to Films and Fermentation, episode 131. That's right, we are Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
We're three friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. On this episode, we're getting a little meta as shit, as we like to say, because we're talking about movies within movies. And tonight, in particular, we're talking about movies about making movies. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with that. Don't forget, you can drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation. Find all of our social media and podcast links. I encourage anybody out there listening to write into us. Let us know if there's any movies we missed on these lists that we create, or if you don't agree with something we said. We would love to hear your opinions about our opinions.
So we can poo-poo your opinion.
Become part of the Films and Fermentation family by going on Patreon to support us or buying some of our merchandise at teespring.com. Remember, we are now part of the Deluxe Edition Network, The Den. You can visit them at deluxeeditionnetwork.com to find out more about our podcasts and all of the other podcasts on The Den. Gentlemen, what are we drinking this evening?
I'll go first.
Kevin already finished it, so.
Yes, so it's practically gone. I am drinking Breckenridge Brewery's Christmas Ale. Since 1933, it's a multi-full-bodied winter warmer. That's the 7.1% alcohol by volume. It's a tasty little winter treat to be followed up by the Big Bad Mad Elf.
Nice.
So I should be feeling pretty good by the end of the show tonight.
Michael, what do you got going on?
I am drinking a Jim Beam Kentucky Cooler Black Cherry and Lemonade.
Nice. Sounds good.
5% alcohol by volume.
So I went through a little bit of an adventure tonight trying to figure out what I wanted to drink because I was trying to come up with something cocktail related. When you look up meta cocktails, It takes you all kinds of different directions on Google. So that wasn't really working out. So then I tried to find cocktails based on some of the movies that we had in our list. But since we narrowed it down in the pre-show, that probably wouldn't have worked anyway. And then some of them I just didn't have things, what I needed for them. So then I thought maybe I'll do a drink based on one of the movies Mike talks about in his film history list this week. And I found one that I sort of kind of liked. It was for Ocean's 11, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll do that drink. And then I'm like, nah, I don't feel like doing it. So I went a totally different direction. I'm like, the holidays are coming upon us now. Let me do something holiday related. So I broke out, Michael, the Old Smoky Moonshine recipe book.
Oh, yeah.
And I made a Old Smoky Moonshine recipe this evening in my little Baby Yoda mug. It's called the Chocolate Covered Strawberry. It is hot chocolate mixed with Old Smoky white chocolate strawberry moonshine.
Nice.
And it is very tasty. The white chocolate strawberry cream moonshine is 17.5% alcohol by volume. And I think I put too much in. So we should have a good show today.
Did you say 17?
17.5% alcohol by volume.
Because it is moonshine.
It is.
Well,
moonshine.
yeah, but
it is 35 proof. And I think I was only supposed to put a shot in, and I just went generous on the pour.
It's a double shot.
It's a triple shot.
It might be more than that. You see the size of this mug, right?
Yeah, true.
So we should have a pretty good show by the end.
Flavor to taste, huh?
Yeah, it's awesome. So, Michael, did anything happen this week in film history? It looks like it did.
This week in film history.
Mike's back in practice now. He got it right tonight.
Yep, I am. In 1978, The Deer Hunter, directed by Michael Cimino, starring Robert De Niro, Christopher Walken, and Meryl Streep, premieres in L.A. Academy Award for Best Picture in 1979.
Deer Hunter is probably best known for the final scene, which is De Niro going back to Vietnam to find his brother, played by Christopher Walken, and he's been brainwashed and turned into a contestant in a Russian roulette contest. It is a brutal movie, very depressing.
Looks like the first three movies on my list here are brutal movies.
So you're saying it's not a Christmas movie?
It is not a Christmas movie. Although Christopher Walken did win an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for this film.
Mm-hmm.
Meryl Streep was nominated for it, one of her early nominations. At the time, she was engaged to John Cazale, who plays Fredo in The Godfather. He was in this film as well. I think it's the last film he was in before he passed away from cancer while they were engaged. So, yeah, I've seen this a couple times. It's a good movie, but it's a difficult watch. The second movie that Mike has here, I've seen once because once is enough.
In 1982, Sophie's Choice, directed by Alan J. Pakula, and based on William Dayton's 1979 novel of the same name, starring Meryl Streep and Kevin Kline, is released Academy Award Best Actress in 1983.
Meryl Streep's second Academy Award. She had won one for Kramer versus Kramer before that. She had a streak in the 70s and 80s of depressing fucking films.
Yeah, no shit.
She did The Deer Hunter. She did Kramer versus Kramer, which is about divorce. And then she did Sophie's Choice, which is watch once and you're good. She's in a Nazi concentration camp and is forced to choose between her two children, which is going to live, which is going to die. And most of the movie is about her struggling with that decision the rest of her life. It's a great movie, well acted. Yeah, you don't have to watch it more than once.
No.
The next one you can watch more than once, though.
Yes. Released in 1986, Heartbreak Ridge is an American war film produced and directed by Clint Eastwood and starring Eastwood, Marsha Mason, Everett McGill, and Mario Van Peebles. Peebles.
Mario Van Peebles. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Not groundbreaking in any way. It also came out.
It's not award winning, but it's
not award winning.
Solid.
I mean, it also came out around the same time as Platoon and Full Metal Jacket, so it does get a little overshadowed in that sense. And next one is where I almost got my drink from.
2001, Ocean's 11, directed by Steven Soderbergh, starring George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, and Julia Roberts, premieres in Westwood, California.
Now, I typically am not a big remake guy, you know that, but Ocean's 11, I have to say, is probably one of my favorite remakes of all time, and it's because it didn't try to be the original film.
Right.
The original film with Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack was a drama, more or less.
It didn't try to be the original film, but it didn't go too far away from the original film.
No, and it was well acted. The ensemble they got worked so well together.
Mm-hmm.
And Katie and I saw this in the theater the weekend it came out, and I remember leaving the theater. It's one of the few movies where I've turned to her and go, "Man, I had fun watching that." Very, very rarely I say a movie is like a fun watch. That's a fun watch. Might watch that later. The next one, Mike.
And the last but not least, 2002, The Two Towers, the second Lord of the Rings film directed by Peter Jackson, starring Elijah Wood and Ian McKellen, premieres in New York.
So I got to ask you guys this question: Does it
There
feel
was
like
three movies?
Does it feel like The Two Towers came out in 2002?
Yes and no.
Sorry.
This is good radio.
So it was yes and no. Yes. Oh, no, because it feels like just, a couple of years ago we were in the theater watching it. But yes, because it's on television all the fucking time.
Yeah, what do you think? Is it
earlier, I was going through all my DVDs and stuff from the basement, trying to clear some things out, and I found just The Two Towers. I know I have all three, but I found just The Two Towers. Just like I found, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. That's it.
I have all three right here.
Out of order, by the way.
The New Line, is it out of order? The New Line Cinema Platinum series, which has all three films, the director cut with extra features and director commentary, and it's like 8 discs in each of these freaking boxes. And it's all Is it out of order? Fellowship of Intro? Oh, yeah, it is out of order. Okay, whatever.
That reminds me. I was watching something the other night, and it came on the commercial for Oppenheimer. Buy it. It's got 3 hours of extra footage, extras on it. I'm like, it's a 3-hour fucking movie already.
Movie to begin with. That's just 3 more hours of Florence Pugh banging Cillian Murphy. I'm not.
Does anybody else feel that they should have marketed when they did the DVD release? They should have put out Oppenheimer and Barbie in the same pack. Oppen Barbie.
The Universal Studios
movies for one low price.
It was the Barbenheimer Steelbook. Made sense. That's why they released them on the same day.
Yeah,
drive up sales. I was thinking with the Lord of the Rings series, it was so groundbreaking at the time, and the special effects and everything stand up so well today that it's hard to believe that they came out over 20 years ago.
Yeah,
right.
I always, in my mind, I always think the first one was 2005, but I think Return of the King was 2005 or something, or 4 or something like that.
Could be 2003 because I think they came in consecutive years.
Did they come out in consecutive years?
Well, they filmed them all 3 at once, so they could do all consecutive years.
So I feel like every time I think about it, I think, oh, it came out later than that. But no, we were young.
We were never young.
I just celebrated the.
I was under 30.
Yeah, I was young in 2002. It was my second year teaching. I was 24.
We all had knees that wouldn't crack when we
had knees that wouldn't crack. I just celebrated the 25th anniversary of my 21st birthday.
I still had knees that cracked, but
yeah, but now I got knees that crack, ankles that crack, back that cracks. I pulled a muscle getting out of bed.
I bruised a rib sneezing the other day.
Katie said to me, I pulled a muscle turning my head in the car. Somebody have any must-try beer or craft destination for this evening?
Let's see what I have tonight. I have a craft destination somewhere around here. Here it is. Got buried on the phone. From Wisconsin, the New Glarus Brewing Company. This legendary and pioneering local craft brewery was founded in 1993 by Deborah and Daniel Carey. It is a very popular destination since the brewery only distributes their award-winning beer in the state of Wisconsin. Classically trained brewer, Dan brews about 20 different styles each year, including the now famous cream ale Spotted Cow, but the lagers, strong Belgians, and fruited sour ales are just as coveted. There you go. If we ever go to Wisconsin, we know where we need to go.
I have a question. I have a question about the phrase "classically trained brewer."
That means he was probably trained by somebody in Germany or one of the big brewery companies.
So like I looked up classically trained brewer on YouTube or on Google rather because I wanted to get like a definition for it, and the Heist Brewery is the first thing that pops up. It's classically trained. Yeah, I got to figure out what that means. Classically, it's like they learned how to brew while playing the violin.
It's just Stradivari brew.
So before we get to our synopsis according to Glip tonight, Kev, I got a dad joke for you.
Oh, I love them.
Why can't you hear the pterodactyl going to the bathroom?
Because the P is silent. That's a good one. I like that. That's very good.
All right, it's time for our synopsis according to Glip. Synopsis according to Glip, brought to you by Newsly.me. Newsly.me is an audio super app for iOS and Android that reads the news to you in a natural human voice. Stop scrolling, start listening. Go to Newsly.me today and use the promo code NFerment to get your first month premium subscription for free. So our Glip synopsis, again, for anybody new to the show, Glip is the recording program we use that gives us a fun little synopsis every week of the show, and I like to parse out some of my favorite pieces of information from the summary and go with it. So these are some of the best parts that I found this week. The hosts talk about the Den. The participants discuss surprise box office hits and podcast overlords. Kevman asked the beer wench to bring him a burly beer.
He did.
Mike is drinking something old and Leo is drinking something new. Leo wants to know what Glip thinks about Jackson's Hole. Leo and Mike discuss the box office hits, but Kevman wasn't paying attention. Mike wants to know what else is new. So Leo slowed it down for Kevman. Leo tells Kevman that Mac and Me is not on the list, and Mike thinks Leo is transparent. It was a pretty good synopsis this week.
Yeah.
So breaking it down, we talked about the Den, our new network that we belong to, the Deluxe Edition Network, the Den. Surprise box office hits was the subject of last week's episode, and the podcast Overlords was a Twitter account who was doing some promoting for us that day. Kev's beer wench is his wife, who he asked to bring him his beer because he forgot to bring it up. Mike was drinking an old smoky, what was it, the black cherry or like strawberry lemonade or something like that.
Yep,
which is something you've had before, and I was drinking a Stewart's hard soda, which I've never had before, so it was something old, something new. You had made a comment about a must-try beer destination in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and I said I wonder what Glip's going to say about Jackson Hole. Again, we were talking about box office hits. Kevman was not paying attention at one point, which Mike said, "What?" And Mike's response was, "What else is new?" I said, "I want to slow it down for you" as a joke. Glip took it seriously. I kept having to repeat that Mac and Me is not on the list last week. It's not on the list this week either, Kev.
Fuck.
And Mike thinks Leo is transparent. Had to do with my need to have Shawshank Redemption on just about every freaking list I make.
So I look up classically trained breweries, right? What does it mean to be classically trained brewer? It comes up, what does classically trained mean? Classically trained means that you are trained in the classical way.
Oh, man, I'm glad we got that cleared up. I was going to torture me.
I thought you couldn't use the words
yes,
to
you should
define
define
the word.
with the word itself.
And I'm not a teacher, I know that. No, that came from Reddit.
Yeah.
Oh, that came from Reddit?
Right. Oh, that makes sense. That's where all the experts are.
That came from Urban Dictionary.
Urban Dictionary. Remind me to tell you about some of my favorite Urban Dictionary terms one day. That was our synopsis according to Glip. We will be back after a short break where you'll be hearing some messages from some of our podcast friends out there. When you come back from that short break, we're going to go to our main segment, Movies About Movies. And on tonight's show, our Movies About Movies is going to concentrate mainly on movies about making movies. So we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Casey Shearer.
And this is Ray.
Do you like pop culture?
We're pretty sure you do.
Then come on over and check us out at deluxeedition.show.
You will not be sorry. Or maybe you will be. I don't know.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to Quad Pro Quo. Right now, you are probably thinking to yourself, oh great, another movie podcast. Well, dear listener, you would be right. But throw in a couple of marriages, decades-long friendships, and a shared property line, and you have just another movie podcast with a shitload of drama. Inspired by the iconic quid pro quo scene in Silence of the Lambs, each week one of us will pick a movie. It could be a childhood favorite, a classic film noir, an Academy Award winner, or a complete dumpster fire that brings joy to that person's heart. The selector's objective? To get us to love, or at the very least, not hate their pick. Will our marriages, our friendships, and our neighborhood survive? Find out each Thursday on Quad Pro Quo.
Hey movie lovers, it's Jackson here from the Back to the Blockbuster podcast. If you've ever wanted to hear an amateur cinephile and an industry professional chat about film and television, then look no further, because every week my co-host Gaius and I, we bring you the latest industry news, break down the most recent trailers, try to beat the box office with our weekly predictions, and dive into our favorite movies on their anniversaries. And every second Friday, you can look forward to the Back to the Blockbuster spin-off, Deep Dives with Owen and Gaius, where the duo dissects a movie of their own choice. All this and more wherever you get your podcasts.
Our short break. Thank you for sticking with us. Tonight, we're doing a topic called Movies About Movies, and we decided this is one that can be a recurring topic because there's so many different things you can talk about. You can talk about movies that have movies within them, movies about making movies. You can talk about movies that have meta scenes in them. So tonight, we decided to focus on some movies that fall under the category of movies about making movies. We have 10 movies on this list. Of course, the list is not complete. We're just picking out a few that we enjoy and that we'd like to talk about tonight. If there's another movie you think we should have covered, or a movie that you think we are neglecting or something like that, feel free to send us a comment. Let us know. And
Somebody's going to say Argo.
Yeah, Argo. We can add it to a list.
Argo. I forgot about that one. Yeah.
It's a movie about making a fake movie.
Maybe about making a fake movie in order to save people, but it's based on a true story, apparently.
Yes.
Except the real guy was not Ben Affleck. He was Latino. The first movie we have on this list about movies about making movies.
Racist.
Talk about racist, yeah. The movie is Tropic Thunder.
We got blackface.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people? What do you mean?
What do you mean, you
What do you
people?
mean, you people? While shooting a war film, the director attempts to liven up proceedings by dropping the principal actors into the middle of a real jungle, claiming he's going to capture their performance with hidden cameras. The hapless group, including drug-addicted comedy star Jeff Portnoy, played by Jack Black, po-faced Method Man Kirk Lazarus, played by Robert Downey Jr., as well as other characters played by Ben Stiller and the like, are completely unaware when a series of unfortunate events leads them into the middle of a real war zone. This is a real, like, comedy of errors kind of film.
Yeah.
Now, personally speaking, I think the best part of the movie is Tom Cruise as the movie executive. I think he's actually supposed to be like Harvey Weinstein or something like that in those scenes, and it's pretty funny. But like, so it's a movie about making a movie where the studio hires a first-time director because he's cheap. He has no idea how to handle the actors. They have all their own personalities, so he takes them into a jungle, drops them there, tells them he's going to film them in these real situations with hidden cameras to try to get a rise out of them, get them scared, make them act better. And then the director gets blown up by a landmine. They think it's part of the show. And so spend the rest of the movie filming what they think is a war film, but it's really just them trying to figure out where the hell they are. It's a good movie. It's funny. It's funny as hell. It's a hoot. It's got a great, like, so talk about meta. So aside from the movie within the movie, you got another like meta joke in there, and that's Robert Downey Jr. playing an actor who's white playing a black character. And it's like, it's a meta in joke on the fact that even a black actor can't get good black parts because white people are taking them. And for anybody who thinks it's a blackface thing, it's not. It's a commentary on that sort of thing. And he got nominated for an Oscar for it. He's awesome in the film. I remember Jamie Foxx was on the Joe Rogan podcast one time, and he was asking him about Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in the movie and whether he was insulted by it or not. And he's like, no, I get the joke. The joke is that these great parts are not going to the people that they should be going to. And he's, it's so funny. I think, also about movies within movies. The whole movie starts with trailers for other films that these guys made.
What was it? Simple Jack?
Simple Jack was the Ben Stiller film. He's an action star who makes like this whole franchise of films, and he's trying to be taken seriously in Hollywood. So he makes this film about a man with like mentally handicapped man.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like ridiculously insulting and over the top. And that's where you get the whole conversation between him and Robert Downey Jr. about how you never go full retard.
Too much.
Like, he goes, it's too much, man. You never go full retard. It's like Tom Hanks, retarded? I don't know, just slow. He won an Oscar. Oh man. And what's the other joke? His movie at the beginning, his trailer, it's Robert Downey Jr. as his character Kirk Lazarus, and what's his name? Tobey Maguire. And they play monks who like fall in love. And it's like supposed to be like a forbidden like love affair thing, their trailer, and it's in the one scene they're kneeling next to each other praying, and Tobey Maguire is playing with Robert Downey Jr.'s rosary beads. And he's making his face like he's having an orgasm. It's like so funny. It's called Devil's Alley. And when they're introducing it, says it's 5-time Academy Award winner Kirk Lazarus and MTV Award winner for Best Kiss, Tobey Maguire. Like, fucking movie's so nuts.
Jesus.
My favorite line though in the whole film is the very end. They're raiding the village where Ben Stiller has been abducted, and Robert Downey Jr. goes in pretending to be an Asian farmer. He got his face all covered up and everything, and he's leading this cow in, and he's trying to talk about the farm that he works on, and he's trying to speak in Vietnamese, but he doesn't do it very well. And the guy goes, "What kind of farmer did you say you were again?" And he whips off his costume and pulls out 2 big machine guns, and he goes, "I'm a bullet farmer, motherfucker." This fucking movie's so nuts. I love it. Anything else?
You have to admit, though, Tom Cruise, with those small bouts of his performance, he kind of steals it, you know?
He's probably the best part of the film. He probably should have got an Oscar nomination. He was awesome in it. He actually did it uncredited at first. I mean, it's him. You hear his voice. But the scenes with him and McConaughey playing Ben Stiller's agent, and who's it? Bill Hader plays his assistant, and he's constantly like shitting on him. And he's like, I remember at the very end, he says I forgot what Bill Hader's character's name is, but he's like, "Hey, you did a good job tonight." He's like, "Really, sir?" And he goes, "No, a nutless monkey could do your fucking job. Get out of my office." What's the thing when they call him up? It's the terrorists talking to him, and they're making their demands, and he's like talking back to them like they're another movie studio or something. It's a crazy film, man, but it's funny as hell. The next one I have on my list here, unless anybody have anything else they have to say about Tropic Thunder.
No.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This is the newest or the most recent film from Quentin Tarantino. Actor Rick Dalton, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, gained fame and fortune by starring in a 1950s television western, but now struggling to find meaningful work in Hollywood that he doesn't recognize anymore. This is taking place during the 1960s. He spends most of his time drinking and palling around with Cliff Booth, played by Brad Pitt. He's his easygoing and longtime stunt double and friend. Rick also happens to live next door to Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate, the filmmaker and budding actress whose futures will be forever altered by the members of the Manson family. There's a lot going on in this film for a film that doesn't have a lot going on. Like, I went to see this in the theater when it came out because I love Tarantino. And I'm like, this is going to be awesome. Look at the actors in it. And I left thinking to myself, boy, I don't know what that movie was about.
What did I just watch?
What did I just watch? Like, there was really not much plot in it. It was mostly about DiCaprio as this like actor who's struggling to like redefine his career at a time when, Hollywood's changing. And then Brad Pitt's character somehow gets involved with this girl who's part of the Manson family. The best part of the movie, honestly, is Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate. Because she's gorgeous and she looks so much like Sharon Tate, and it's one of Tarantino's movies where he likes to rewrite history. So with Inglourious Bastards, which is another movie about making movies, it's about the death of Hitler and destroying the Nazi Party, and it's his idea of a World War II fantasy. This one is what would have happened if Sharon Tate didn't get killed by the Manson family that night. I mean, that's ultimately what happens is she gets saved at the end by DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. And obviously in real life, she did not get, she got murdered by the Manson family.
Yes.
I feel like it's a movie. If I watch it again, I'd probably appreciate it more. But I just haven't had 4 hours time to watch it again.
Well, if you skip Shawshank once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, if I did watch something other than Shawshank.
That ain't gonna happen.
I would sit down and be like, I can watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood again and see if I like it a second time, or I could watch Shawshank. It's usually
Shawshank.
It's either that or it's like, or I can watch Clue, or Ghostbusters, or something else that I've watched a million times,
or Star Wars,
But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I feel like if I watched it again, I'd probably appreciate it more. Because there are some good performances in it. Like DiCaprio is amazing as always. Brad Pitt won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for it. He's really good in it. Like I said, Margot Robbie is just a joy to watch no matter what.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like if I gave it another shot, I might actually like it. Anybody have anything they want to add? Or I feel like I'm monopolizing the first two movies so far. So if you feel like talking, let me know.
We have 2 cents every
I have a lot of alcohol in my system right now.
Yeah. We're waiting for you to start slurring, so we have to start,
Yeah. It might happen soon. It might happen soon because on top of the alcohol, we had Chinese food for dinner, and I had the fucking spiciest General Tso chicken I've ever had in my life. That they must have marinated it in magma because it burned the shit out of me when I ate it.
So it's going to burn the shit out of you when it comes back out.
There's going to be a whole lot of burning going on later. The next one I have on this list is one I haven't seen in a while. Like, I think I need to rewatch this. This came out in, oh my God, when was it? 1992. It's The Player, starring Tim Robbins and Vincent D'Onofrio.
I think he's underrated.
Who?
In Hollywood.
D'Onofrio? Oh, D'Onofrio is so underrated.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, people talk about like De Niro and the way he would change his body for roles, and Christian Bale and the things he does. Vincent D'Onofrio has been a different actor in almost every friggin' movie he's ever been in.
Yeah,
he changes his appearance so much.
Yeah,
he'll go from big to small to fat to in shape to like to looking like a guy to looking like a bug wearing a man suit. Like, that movie in Men in Black, aside from the amazing performance he already gave, he wore specially designed knee braces to force him to walk that way.
Really?
Ooh.
Like, that's how committed he was to that shit. Like, he's so underrated. He was even great in what was the Law and Order one that he did? Was it Special?
Criminal Intent.
Criminal Intent. Yeah, like, I mean, he's amazing, and I think him as the Kingpin right now.
Oh my God,
he's so fucking good as the Kingpin. So I hope they keep him. So the movie The Player is says certain that the anonymous threats he's been receiving are the work of David Kahane, played by Vincent D'Onofrio. Producer Griffin Mill, played by Tim Robbins, tries to fix things over cocktails. Instead, Griffin ends up murdering the screenwriter and courting the dead man's wife or dead man's girlfriend. As police investigate, Griffin concentrates on a prestigious film that might reinvigorate his career, but he soon learns that David's demise hasn't been forgotten by everyone in Hollywood. And like the trick of this is that like he accidentally murders this guy. But kind of plays it off like, okay, I'm going to make this movie and reinvigorate my career. And it's kind of like there's multiple stories going on. There's a shit ton of actors in this film. I got to look it up on IMDb so I can get this right here.
Tim Robbins, Bruce Willis, Burt Reynolds.
Greta Scacchi plays the girlfriend, Fred Ward, Whoopi Goldberg, Peter Gallagher, Vincent D'Onofrio, Dean Stockwell, Richard E. Grant, Lyle Lovett, Sidney Pollack, Jeremy Piven, the guys you just mentioned, Bruce Willis, and all them. Like, there's just so many people in this film, and it's a Hollywood studio exec is being sent death threats by a writer whose script he'd rejected, but which one? So like, it's also like a kind of like comedy of errors and mistaken identity and all that stuff. And this is pre-Shawshank Tim Robbins. He's not done Shawshank yet. He's actually like pretty much coming off of Bull Durham at this point.
Yeah.
Bull Durham and Howard the Duck.
Whoa. I'm looking at it. Whoa. We can't keep doing all that.
No. You saw I separated them. We have our list.
What did you do?
I'm
not even on here. You added shit?
I did nothing.
I see that. I see what you added.
This may be something we revisit, and I don't want to forget these ones. That's all.
We'll see how far this goes, because I can talk about those too. They're obviously all films I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
We're 54 minutes into this already. We need to get moving here.
And we're on movie.
We're on movie 4. I thought this was going to be a quick episode. Your number 4 is Get Shorty.
This was an interesting movie.
This is
interesting.
This is one that I've seen multiple times, and still I'm not sure if I like it or not.
Right. That's where I'm at because I don't know if I liked Travolta's character. He was just too cool, you know. And I know the whole sequel is Be Cool, but like it was almost unbelievable with how relaxed everything was, you know.
So the movie is
going at 6.9 out of 10, and
the movie is based on a novel, Get Shorty by Elmore Leonard, and he's a writer who kind of that's his thing. Is kind of characters like that. So Chili Palmer, a character that John Travolta plays, is a too cool for school customer kind of thing because he's a typical Elmore Leonard character. He's a Miami mobster who gets sent by his boss, the psychopathic Bones Barboni, played by Dennis Farina. Boy, talk about somebody who's typecast in Hollywood. To collect a bad debt from Harry Zim, Gene Hackman, a Hollywood producer who specializes in cheesy horror films. When Chili meets Harry's leading lady, Renee Russo, the romantic sparks fly. After pitching his own life story as a movie idea, Chili learns that being a mobster and being a Hollywood producer really aren't all that different. And it's like the stories converge there. Like, again, like there's some things about John Travolta in it that I like. And then there are some things where I'm like, he's still playing Pulp Fiction in this film. Gene Hackman's good in it, but Gene Hackman rarely gives a bad performance.
Right.
Dennis Farina is pretty funny in it because he's basically playing himself as a mobster, which he does in every film. It's an early film for what's his name?
From
James Gandolfini.
The Soprano, James Gandolfini.
He's got an early role in it. And I
Uma
like
Thurman.
Uma Thurman's in it, and Danny DeVito is the shorty that they're trying to get. He's like this really short actor in Hollywood, but who's like a major like leading man character. And I remember in the film, there's a film within the film within the film that they make with him playing Napoleon because he's like real short. And he's really funny in it. Danny DeVito's good in the film. But there's like when I watch it, I feel like some of it feels like it's trying to be Pulp Fiction a little bit. I feel like, and some of it is trying to be like a little more witty. I don't know. But again, it's a movie about making movies, and that's kind of what we're talking about here tonight. The next one is a Disney film, Saving Mr. Banks.
And this was the production of, you're right.
It's a Disney film because Disney's in it.
Yeah. Yes. It's the production of Mary Poppins.
Spurred on by a promise he made to his daughters, Walt Disney, played by Tom Hanks, embarks on what would become a 20-year quest to obtain the movie rights to Mary Poppins. The author, P.L. Travers, played by Emma Thompson, proves to be an uncompromising curmudgeon who has no intention of letting her beloved characters become mangled in the Hollywood machine. However, when the book stops selling and she finds herself in need of money, Travers reluctantly agrees to consider Disney's proposition. And then you get this whole like series of events in which she's like meeting with the musicians who are writing the songs for the film, and she's like, "Wait, it's a musical?" Like,
wait, there are penguins, cartoon
penguins, and But the whole like point of the film,
Emma Thompson was gold in that movie.
She's fucking.
She was great.
Emma Thompson's gold all the time.
True.
She's really good in Love Actually, Mike.
Yeah, she was. I didn't know there were lobsters in the Nativity.
Lobster number 2.
One thing I will say is that I think the part of the movie I liked more was her reflecting on her growing up and her father, played by Colin Farrell, and the troubles that her family had as she grew up, which is why the character of Mary Poppins, like why it was so important to her to keep things the way it was.
Because ultimately you discover that the book was not about Mary Poppins. It was about saving the father, Mr. Banks, because he was the representation of her father. You know, so that's why it was such a personal story.
Basically, that was what the movie was about, too.
But it was because she kind of stepped in and said, no, this is what it has to be about. They were focusing
Disney
so much on Mary Poppins.
Right.
Yeah.
Disney was changing it so much.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, it was, and she, in the film, she seems to be pleased with it at the end. But the real life, P.L. Travers cried after the world premiere and refused to ever sell the rights to any of her books ever again.
Tossed a drink in Disney's face and stepped on Julie Andrews' foot at the premiere. I mean, I could be making that up, but then again, so was the movie.
I think you might be making it up. It's a similar thing to Roald Dahl in the Willy Wonka books. After he saw the Willy Wonka film, he said, "I'm never selling rights to my books again."
And yet they still get sold.
It's like Alan Moore with all of his comics.
Well, he gives all the proceeds go to his artist, his artist. He doesn't take any of the money for it.
Right, but he still hates the movies that come out based off of his graphic novels.
Yeah. The next one I have on my list is.
I feel most authors hate the fucking movie that come out of their books.
It's like I would love to like publish a book one day, but then I'm like, what if my book becomes a movie? And then I'm like disappointed by it.
What did I hear? The guy that did Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Douglas
they
Adams.
waited. Him. They waited until they could do it right. You know, like that's why it took so long for production. And even then,
he retained creative rights on his works, which was like a smart thing to do. You know, retain those rights so then they can't just make it without you. And so they had a radio show that they did. They had another movie that they made in the 70s. A couple other like radio programs. So like everything that they did produce off of his books, he was okay with. The film that came out with Martin Freeman and Mos Def and all those actors, he had passed away right before the film was released, but he was involved in the majority of the production of the film.
Right.
So like any changes to the story and all that were all things that he gave permission for.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the movie turned out great. It didn't get. I don't think it got as much play as it should have. I wish it was more popular because then we might have got some sequels.
You know, that is another topic.
I know.
Books that move into movies.
Yeah, we're going on another tangent here. So getting back to the list, letter F on my list here is Cinema Paradiso. I saw this for the first time in high school in my Italian class. Oddly enough. So it takes place in Italy, obviously. Young Salvatore De Vita.
It's a Dutch movie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Young Salvatore De Vita, played by Salvatore Cascio, discovers the perfect escape from life in his war-torn Sicilian village, the Cinema Paradiso movie house, where projectionist Alfredo, played by Felipe Nore, instills in the boy a deep love of films. When Salvatore grows up, falls in love with a beautiful local girl, and takes over the Paradiso's as the Paradiso's projectionist, Alfredo must convince Salvatore to leave his small town and pursue his man, I fucking drunk.
Well,
pursue his passion for filmmaking. This is a personal love of mine. I saw this in high school, like I said, and I immediately fell in love with it because it's a movie about a boy growing up in a movie house, becoming, falling in love with movies, and eventually making movies of his own. And I'm like, boy, that's a dream. It's a foreign film. It's in Italian. It's all subtitled, unless you speak it. And it's a beautiful movie, very, very beautiful movie. It's not like it's very wholesome. It's this boy befriends this guy that runs a movie house, grows up watching all these different films and falling in love with the process, and then eventually pursuing his dream of becoming a movie maker. It's a semi-autobiographical movie for the director of the film. So if you've never seen Cinema Paradiso,
I have not.
You should check it out. It's a beautiful movie.
Okay.
Very, very good movie. Came out in 1988. Next one I have here, Mike added this one earlier, Silent Movie, which is a Mel Brooks film.
Mm-hmm.
Movie about making a movie. The movie itself is silent. It's about making a silent film.
Not the first silent movie to be made about making a silent movie. No, it was the first.
It is the first movie because the other one won an Oscar.
Wasn't the
other
last
one won an Oscar. Yeah, I know, because Kevin just added it to the list. The best joke in Silent Movie is when they ask a question of the famous mime Marcel Marceau, and he speaks the only word in the entire film, which is no. And that's like the biggest joke in the film. Not one of Mel Brooks's best, I will say, but it's got its moments because it does have Marty Feldman in it, who's always fucking funny.
Well, the cast of characters it has in it, you know, God, you got Dom DeLuise, Burt Reynolds, and Bancroft. Sheesh. It has done quite well, but
it's you know it's
hit or miss.
the usual cast of characters for like Mel Brooks films.
Yeah.
But I think you have to kind of be in on the joke a little bit. The next one I have here is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, which features two movies within the movie. The first is the movie that they're actually making, Blunt Man and Chronic, which when they find out this movie is being made on these characters that are based on them, they are going to go to Hollywood to either stop the film or get the money that they deserve for it. Along the way, they get to see the making of Good Will Hunting 2 hunting season. The best part of that is you see Ben Affleck and Matt Damon talking in between scenes. And he's like, I really don't want to be doing this. And Ben Affleck's like, but I told you, man, you got to do shit like this. And then you can do other shit. I did Paycheck, or I did, what was it, Reindeer Games, so I can do this. You have to do this if you want to do another good. You know, so it's like you got to trade off in Hollywood. And then they turn to the director, Gus Van Sant. And he's like, Gus, what should we be doing in this scene? And he's counting money. And he's like, stop, leave me alone. I'm busy.
Trivia question: which two actors did they get to play Jay and Silent Bob?
It was Jason Biggs from American Pie,
right,
and Dawson from Dawson's Creek. James Vanderbeek.
What's James Vanderbeek?
Yeah. The last great pie fucker. Everybody just remembers the fucking pie. You know, I did other things like Saving Silverman.
Pie fucker.
What's it's the last great performance from Shannon Elizabeth. This movie's great. The scene where the truck pulls up.
What was the name of the organization? I know Mike doesn't like Will Ferrell, but what was the name of the organization? Because he goes off on a whole thing.
Oh, it's the Clit. The one that Shannon Elizabeth and Elijah Dusko and all those belong to, right?
Yeah.
The female thieves, they're the Clit.
Like
and Will Ferrell's like on the news, like, we can't find a Clit. The Clit is just difficult to find. We wish there was
like
the Clit is
not real.
The Clit is, we're not even sure if the Clit is real. So fucking stupid.
Jesus.
Here, I got more trivia for you, Kev. Do you remember the name of the website? The website they go on to read all the reviews?
No.
It's moviepoopshoot.com.
Oh my god.
Lord.
I love the cameo from George Carlin, where he's like, if you want to hitchhike, you gotta give and take. You
gotta pay for it, or
the truck.
The rules of the road.
It just goes down on the guy.
You know what? I'm glad our last movie's a wholesome movie.
We haven't gotten there yet.
I know. I see what's there.
We get through Booking Nights.
I know. At least we're gonna end on a wholesome note.
Oh my god, I'm sweating.
Oh man, I gotta watch Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back now. It's been a while.
It's been a while for me too. I watched Jay and Silent Bob reboot, and it was it was okay. It was a lot of the same jokes, and they actually make jokes about the fact that it's a lot of the same jokes. So, plus, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back ends with a movie ends with a performance by Marvin. What's his name? And the time.
Oh, yes.
I can't remember the guy's name. Not Marvin Gaye. Marvin. Was it something Day? I think at the time. I don't remember. Boogie Nights
that
is the
was
next
also
one.
a movie about. There were movies that was. I'm sorry, just going back really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was a movie about movies being made because there was Good Will Hunting too.
Mm-hmm.
But then you had Blunt Man and
Chronic.
And Chronic, right. And the movie being made there.
Okay, another trivia question for you. Yeah, it's a cockknocker. I was going to say, what's the name of the villain? The cockknocker. Played by?
Oh, Mark Hamill.
Who's the
directed
director?
By Chris Rock.
Chris Rock. Some motherfucker getting sued for this shit.
Oh, good Lord.
Boogie Nights.
Jesus.
I love it when Kevin loses it. I love it when Kevin loses it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm remembering him as a director and the guy, the assistant that he had coming by. Because the whole thing is, it's in black direction. It's white man coffee.
I found the TikTok clip for the night. I gotta mark.
Drunk talk.
I gotta mark down on my notes when to look for this. 1 hour and 11-minute mark.
Oh my God! You spitting that coffee?
No, I'm moving on to Boogie Nights.
Okay. Let's move on to Boogie Nights.
A movie about making porn.
Oh.
A movie we discussed on last week's episode because it involves Mark Wahlberg and a big fake dick. But what I have here, the link I put on here is for a trailer for the movie within the movie. He as Dirk Diggler and John C. Reilly as Reed Richards. That's their porn names. Decide that they're going to make a movie about a couple of detectives going after like a drug cartel because they're into like these 70s like kung fu films and shit. It's called Brock Lander's Angels Live in My Town. And it's just basically a glorified porno. But when they make it, and I remember when they make it and they premiere it, they have a scene with Burt Reynolds, who plays the director, watching the film, and he goes, "Oh, this is the one they're going to remember me for." as if it's like Citizen Kane. I'm not going to spend too much more time on Boogie Nights because I think I'm like losing it tonight. So let's go to the, because nothing says segue from Boogie Nights and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back like Singing in the Rain.
Singing in the rain, just sing.
Although I can ruin that one too if I start talking about Clockwork Orange.
Oh Jesus, please stop.
Singing in the Rain. Kev, you want to take this one?
Yeah.
I need a minute.
Okay. Singing in the Rain. Hold on. There we go.
Coming up on
starring Donald O'Connor.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's the first one you think of when you think of Singing in the Rain. Not Gene Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor, and Debbie Reynolds. This movie takes place during the cusp of from silent movies into talkies. Excuse me. It's 1927. Hollywood Monumental Pictures' biggest star, glamorous on-screen couple, Lena Lamont and Don Lockwood, are also an off-screen couple. If the trade papers and gossip columns are to be believed, both perpetuate the public perception, if only to please their adoring fans and bring people into the movie theaters. In reality, Don barely tolerates her, while Lena, despite thinking Don beneath her, simple-mindedly believes that what she sees on screen in order to bolster her own stardom and sense of self-importance. It isn't until The Jazz Singer in 1927 comes along, becomes a bona fide hit, which results in all the movie theaters installing sound equipment, and Monumental Studios knows that they need to get on board. While trying to do this, while trying to install the sound technology, they notice multiple flaws from where they position the microphone to how the people turn their head. But above all is Lena Lamont's voice, which sounds like this when she talks. So they hire Debbie Reynolds to what would you call superimpose or
she's sort
voiceover?
of like the overdubbed voice, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the voiceover.
They did the same thing for Natalie Wood in West Side Story. Like when she's singing, it's not her.
Right,
So
right,
it's like
right.
the
And
overdubbed
I'm
voice.
sorry, I should say that her character is Kathy Selden,
Mhm.
who's just a simple singer, chorus girl, trying to make her way into the Hollywood scene, but kind of, hitting the wall every time. She ends up getting a relationship with Gene Kelly's character, Don. And that's how they end up doing the talkie movies and becoming a sensation. But obviously they realize that, Kathy is losing out on all the credit that she's due because of the singing, because of the voice work, And yeah, it's a movie about movies.
Without looking at IMDb and cheating, how many Academy Awards do you think this film was nominated for?
3.
I'm already on IMDb. And you can see it.
I'm on IMDb, but I'm not looking at it. So I'm going to say 3.
Well, you're close. It was 2.
It's
2.
You would think for a bona fide classic like this, a film that's still talked about, that's still like beloved, it didn't get a Best Picture nomination.
Really?
Because the Academy sucks and doesn't know what it's talking about.
The thing about the Academy, though, is they love a movie about making movies because it's like sucking their own dick. So, I mean, like...
they don't like movies make about movies with real stars in it.
Marilyn Manson tried that. He had ribs removed.
I was thinking more Clerks. Broke his neck. Yeah, trying to suck his own dick. So it got a nomination for Best Supporting Actress for Jean Hagen. She's the one with the high-pitched voice. And Best Music Scoring for a Motion Picture, and that's it. No director, no actor, no actress, nothing. And it's surprising considering it's such a beloved movie. And I think it was Debbie Reynolds' first movie.
Was it?
I think it might have been her debut. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but I know she was young. So if it's not her debut, it's a very early role for her. You son
I
of
had
a
heard
bitch.
that Donald O'Connor wasn't supposed to play the friend. It was supposed to be Danny Kaye.
Okay.
But he wasn't available to fill in. Honestly, I think
I hope
Donald
something like
O'Connor
that
did better
for it,
idea.
Yeah, I
Danny
mean,
Kaye was supposed to be in it
because I think when did this come out? This came out in 1952, which is around the same time that White Christmas came out.
White Christmas 54, yeah.
54. So I mean, I don't know if Danny Kaye might have possibly been already filming that or something. I don't know. I love these old like musicals too from the 50s that have just like musical numbers for the sake of musical numbers. You know, like that. That's I watched White Christmas the other day, and that's what it is. It's just like movies for the sake of like musical numbers. So she did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies before this one. But this was a hit. Like her first 5 movies were not like well known or well regarded.
Right.
So Singing in the Rain's kind of like her star making performance. All right. And I feel like all right, we can blow through these next ones real quick.
Do you think?
So yeah,
or should we hold on?
I don't know.
I don't know. Because you still want to do the Inception, don't you?
That's another. That's another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's
So we
tackle
got
Inception, and we'll come back to the other 5 later.
Yeah, we got 5 other movies for this list. Movies about making movies. Bowfinger, Disaster Artist, Shadow of a Vampire, Ed Wood and the Artist. They're all great films. But I think we're going to save those for another episode because we've been going for a while right now, and Leo needs to get to bed. So
Leo's not going to watch one of those movies he wanted to watch later on tonight.
Not tonight. I'm not editing tonight either. So the last thing I have on here is something I read earlier today that I thought was kind of funny, and it's about Inception, the Christopher Nolan film from 2010, great movie, and how it's a movie secretly about making movies. And this is what it says. Christopher Nolan may be his generation's finest director of movies about movies that aren't technically about movies. Take Inception, the story of a master thief who steals secrets by entering his targets' minds while they sleep. As films are often compared to dreams, Inception's subject matter is inherently cinematic. Then you factor in the way DiCaprio's character assembles a team of specialists to help him execute his heist. And it looks suspiciously like the story of a director, DiCaprio, who is even costumed and styled to look a little bit like Nolan. Putting together a crew to help him achieve his artistic vision includes what amounts to a producer, Joey Gordon-Levitt, a production designer, Elliot Page, and an actor, Tom Hardy. And when you break it down like that, it kind of is, and they even have Ken Watanabe's character, the Asian businessman who hires him. He's like the money behind the film. And then you have Cillian Murphy, who's the subject of the film, and then so it's and then when you think about it, it's dreams within dreams within dreams, so it's almost like a film within a film. So I just thought that was kind of like a funny little thing that I read earlier, and I wanted to share it. Mike, while I still have a little bit of a voice left here, do you have any beer trivia or history for us this evening?
I have beer trivia for you tonight, boys. A device called a glass blender supplies both carbon dioxide and nitrogen at dispense to allow some beers, such as dry Irish stouts, to be poured with an exceptionally thick, creamy layer of foam.
Because you need that.
A glass blender.
A glass blender. I thought you were going to start talking about smoothies or something.
Nah.
So how are your drinks this evening, gentlemen?
Very good.
Yes, I went through them way too quickly.
You can never go wrong with bourbon.
I think you can conjecture that I enjoyed my drink this evening.
Is it empty, Lee?
It's the best hot chocolate I've ever had in my life.
I have some of that tonight.
I decided to love. I poured this before I realized how much was in it, like alcohol by volume. I made the hot chocolate and only put it up to about here, and then the rest was moonshine. So I feel pretty good.
Nothing hurts tonight, boys.
Katie, my wife just said from the other room, "Do I have to take away your hot chocolate?" And too late. I already drank it. So thank you for joining us tonight for episode 131, Movies About Making Movies. We hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Don't forget, you can drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought about tonight's episode, if there was anything we forgot or anything you'd like to say about the films we chose. Don't forget, you can also visit us at linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our links to social media, such as Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, etc., as well as our podcast links. Don't forget, we are now a member of the Deluxe Edition Network podcasts, and you can find us at deluxeeditionnetwork.com, The Den, or you can support us on Patreon or by buying merchandise at teespring.com.
Hey, they can also comment about our drinks if they really want to. I mean, not just about the movies. How about our drinks too?
If you like our
Give us some suggestions. The holidays are near.
Yeah.
What are some holiday favorites? We're looking to branch out.
We'll take suggestions on drinks. We'll also take suggestions on movie topics as well. We are happy to hear from anybody out there. And if you'd like the recipe for my drink tonight, I'll give it to you. Hot chocolate and white chocolate
Moonshine.
strawberry cream moonshine. A lot of it.
Moonshine.
Moonshine.
Oh, smoke.
Moonshine.
Don't forget to stop by the crossroads between pickled and fermented next time around for episode 132. Look, I got that one right, even though I didn't type it right on the notes. Episode 132. Hey, Bob. My wife just came in to look at me disapprovingly. You should have seen Kevin lose his mind tonight. I'm done anyway, Bob. You can put that away.
I think I may have put the Jay and Silent Bob in the donate bin. I may need to pull that out.
So anyway, don't forget to stop by the Crossroads between Pickled and Fermented next time around for episode 132. Next week, we're talking about our favorite performances from actors playing Santa Claus.
I know him. I know him.
And for this episode, we're bringing back the bracket. So we have a Sweet 16 of actors who have played Santa either in film or in animation. And we're going to vote to see who our favorite Santa Claus is in the first of two upcoming Christmas specials. In 2 weeks, we're going to be filming and recording our final Christmas special, episode 133, which is going to be a deep dive into the film that is celebrating its 35th anniversary this year, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So this is 2 weeks of special Christmas episodes coming up. I'm Leo.
Yes, sir.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Thanks again for joining us, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.